For the first time in human history, the majority of the world's population is now living in urban areas. Alongside this transition is a fairly sizable shift in many of the fundamental patterns of the human species. Most notably, in advanced economies, a dramatic reduction in birth rates.
In general, this is a phenomenon that has been tied to the expansion of more and more women entering the workforce, who are waiting longer to ultimately have fewer children. But recently, the discussion has turned to the level of support provided by local governments, as there is increasing evidence that the access to affordable comprehensive care and schooling may play a significant role.
For UK single mom Shona Stewart, a nurse who works 10 to 6, Monday through Friday, and is the mother of twin boys with autism, government financial assistance helps, but does not cover all of her childcare needs.
In London, childcare facilities are not adequate at all. You have to work, you really have to work to cover the cost of everything. And not an awful lot of places you're working will be paying you £14 an hour, yet your childcare needs are that more expensive. As a parent, I question sometimes, is it really worth being at work?
Across the ocean in Brooklyn, New York, the options aren't any wider. Open House Nursery School director Eileen Shannon says on admission day, a single day held each year, they receive over 300 applicants for 35 seats.
Once upon a time, you could basically, it was a rolling admission, you could send in an application, it was all very easy. And then things started to change with the amount of applications, and I would say the last 5 years have gotten really intense.
The pressures in New York have gotten so bad that cottage consulting businesses have cropped up to assist with the admissions process.
For preschool in Brooklyn, I recommend about between 4 and 8 applications. And so most people are applying to about 6 schools, and you should think of them like, this sounds crazy, but in the way that you think of a college application, where you have a couple of safeties and a couple of reaches.
But there's a potentially perfect storm brewing for Brooklyn's preschool admission bonanza that will certainly challenge even the most tolerant of New Yorkers. The population of New York City is expected to rise by 1 million people by 2030. This, alongside U.S. President Barack Obama's push for a substantial expansion of access to early childhood education.
To make high-quality preschool available to every child in America.
I mean, really the problem is real estate. There would be 50 more preschools if people could find the spaces to start them.
Moving away from the U.S. and toward developing nations, most notably China, urban migration is also affecting the ways in which citizens view families and family planning. China holds a unique place in the demographic dance. After instituting its one-child policy in the early 1980s, the country has seen a dramatic decline in birth rate. In 1970, on average, a woman had 5.5 children. By 2010, it had dropped to 1.6. But with the rapid rise in China's middle class, and the reality that its working-age population is set to peak in 2020, Shanghai mother of one, Long Ting, calls the policy antiquated. And despite the reality that her husband would be fined 3 years' salary if they have a second child, she hopes they're able to have another.
小的时候呢，主要是靠他爷爷奶奶带，就是我的父母，在上海这边带了4年，我们是双职工家庭嘛，反正带到大概中班的时候，中班后就自己慢慢的，我就告诉龙珍他要自己要独立一下嘛，因为爷爷奶奶要去带其他的，我还有一个姐姐，就带姐姐的孩子去了。
Looking at nearly 40 years of fertility data shows that fewer babies is almost a natural byproduct of modernity. But if Germany is any guide, money, and money alone, does little to assist with reversing the trend. Having just emerged from an aggressive period of public family benefits and tax breaks, their birth rate of 1.36 children per woman remains amongst the lowest in the world, raising troubling implications for the future of their workforce, tax base, and economy. In contrast, with an average of 2 children per woman, France, long noted for its progressive governmental family support policies, continues to have one of the highest birth rates in the developed world. This, with only 8% fewer women participating in the workforce than in Germany.
In a crowded 2013, it does seem like a stretch to be concerned about a world with fewer people. But as we continue to collectively move to the tighter and more contested city spaces, the ways in which governments approach this demographic time bomb may ultimately play a much larger role in where we call home. Christopher Booker, Financial Times, Brooklyn, New York.